Hey Dan, did I miss the memo?
Well, if you did, I did as well. I didn't see any cancellation. I just looked at the calendar, um, the Linux calendar, and it was still there. Well,
I know Drummond's traveling a lot. I know he was away last week and he's away this week somewhere,
yeah,
but normally he's good at canceling the call, but I guess it's just me and you, so we must have missed the memo.
yeah. And I did look quickly, and I didn't see any emails, but yeah, as normal, I guess we wait 5, 10 minutes, and then nobody.
Yep. How are things with you? It's been a while.
Yeah, keeping busy. Accenture shifted gears a bit, and there's unless the client's paying for travel, there's no travel, and so my standard support has been cut back a lot. It's all remote, and client stuff comes first, so, as opposed to before, where I was pretty much full on industry like this and standard support. So I'm still plugged into like MDL standards and some biometric standards, but yeah, it's been cut back a lot.
Hmm.
Now just still focus on digital identity, which is good, but yeah, it's all client delivery these days. So.
So are clients asking for decentralized identity?
Slowly, yeah, there's more and more interest, especially more so in Europe with the EU digital identity wallet and the basically the legal mandate that it be supported in public sector and private sector. It's not mandatory that citizens have it, but if citizens have it, it's mandatory that they can use it. And then in the U.S., we're seeing a slow but steady adoption of MDLs, but it's still it's still not clear. Like I haven't been able to use my Maryland mobile driver's license at all, including at TSA checkpoints.
Really?
Yeah,
So what was the point?
exactly. Yeah, I mean the point for me was to understand the process, but you
Yeah,
know,
no. I mean, but if you get pulled over by the cops and you show him your your wallet, does he care?
well, yeah. So luckily, I haven't had the opportunity to attempt to present my MDL to a cop after I got pulled over because I haven't. But I've tried several times with TSA, and either the machine's down or I remember the first time I tried to use it at Dulles Airport in Virginia, the TSA said Virginia, the state of Virginia, has not approved the use of digital identity. So it was not a valid means of identification. I believe that they've gotten all 50 states to allow it, but not all 50 states accept it at airports. But yeah, it's chicken and egg sort of thing. Like in Estonia, I think there's like 4,000 or so public sector and private sector um, uh, services that can be accessed using your Estonian citizen ID card. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, with an MDL, the only other thing that I've seen, like state of California has an agreement with one of the online age verification services where you could use your MDL to prove that you're over 21 using that online service. But yeah, I think there's certainly a need for it. And, I think there will be a growing demand for it, but yeah, it's not quite there yet. Yeah.
I know in Canada, at least, there's a couple of airports. I think maybe, well, for sure, Toronto, Vancouver, not where I'm in Montreal, but there is some kind of digital identity that you can use to get through security. But I haven't seen it here, and I haven't heard very much about it aside from what I just said. Like that's the extent of the news release. So,
Yeah, it was
well,
interesting that in the U.S., Google's been working a lot with TSA, and the main difference between an MDL that supports selective disclosure and our passports that do not support selective disclosure is just that. Um, So what Google has done with TSA is Google said, well, we'll allow folks to scan their passports, their e-passports, NFC read them, and then you could decompose it into each of the distinct attributes: first name, last name, date of birth, photo, and then Google will sign each of those attributes so that you could selectively disclose um, elements of your identity using, they call it ID pass, and TSA will accept that. So I thought that was interesting that TSA will now accept a Google signed and soon Apple signed um, identification attestation, for boarding aircraft. CBP is in charge of immigration. They will not accept that. But yeah, TSA to board an aircraft.
Isn't that like that kind of kills the purpose if you're having Google and Apple sign off on everything?
Yeah, it
The
just
mother of all call the last people on the planet that need to have access to that is Google and Apple. They have it already.
yeah, I found it kind of strange. Not only do they have it, but the U.S. government is accepting a private sector signed credential as golden.
Oh, that sounds just
Seems quite
horrible.
ass backwards.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely horrible. They want to insert themselves into, I mean, it's the government of Google.
Yeah, I found that strange. Yeah.
Is this a recent administration thing, or is that part of it? Is the administration? Because this tech boys club and their closeness with the administration would be getting out of hand. It's like draconian already.
Yeah, I don't know how much influence the administration had, or if this was TSA just wanted to push the envelope, the technology envelope, and got a rubber stamp. I don't know, but yeah, either way, it's TSA is accepting these documents signed by the private sector. It's yeah.
Very bizarre. It's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Hey, Drummond, where are you today? Speaking of travel.
Oh, he's just ending in the chat. He just said, I'm here, but just ending a meeting. I will be with you shortly.
All right.
So he's probably logged in. He's in Europe still. When I talked with him yesterday, so yes.
Hey, Riza, how are you? Where are you located?
Good morning, Los Angeles. Sunny but crisp morning.
Oh, you're celebrating a baseball win, aren't you?
Gosh, if you're confusing me with someone that cares about baseball, but I do have the cat's just covering unruly hair.
No, I only know because Toronto lost, and that's where I'm close to. So everybody's sad.
When I got tickets to the World Series a while back, I mentioned it to my wife. She said, "The World Series, which countries are playing?"
That's a good question. That's funny. That's very
Online,
good.
thank you. We'll continue tomorrow. Yes. Whoops.
Wow. You just want to have speech bubbles being created for what is Drummond saying now.
Now, what is that? Isn't there there's a bad bad lip sync reads? Have you not seen those comedy video clips of where they do bad lip syncing? It's very
We should
cute.
learn maybe lip reading for these occasions.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Hey? Besides the transcript of his conversation off mic in the chat would be very interesting. Perhaps Mobile driver's license can do that for us now with Google.
Fuck. Oh. I'm in the midst of working on the next videos for Bite Size Trust. Trying to come
What's
up
your
with
subject?
the slide deck.
What's the subject?
Now I'm on just a simple one, storing, where do you store private keys? And that keys are stored on the edge or in the cloud. And then you can do, or you can do a mix of both.
You mean
Just
like in your Google Drive?
in your Google Drive, in your Google Wall, so they can run everything.
Just give them the keys.
Google can use your keys in order to authenticate that
Star
Google
Trek?
can share your
What's the
information.
resistance is futile?
Yeah, yeah,
What was
that
that?
wasn't that their original
I
slogan.
don't remember the bad guys, who were they called. This is a very long time ago, but as the resistance is futile was the line.
The Borg.
Borg, there you go.
Oh
Good,
my
good.
goodness, Stephen,
Someone
what
getting
kind
a
of nerd
call?
are you?
Wow, very good.
I showed my 9-year-old daughter the classic Picard Borg episode. She was terrified.
Yeah, I would imagine it's gonna it's good parenting on your part. Are you preparing her for the future?
Hey, I haven't shown her Jurassic Park. You know, the velociraptors scare the crap out of me. Hello, Drummond.
Hey, first of all, I totally apologize. I'm in Berlin. I've been in a meeting, a first-person meeting with good folks at Affinity today, and it was supposed to end at 5 o'clock, and I blame them completely. I'm laughing at one of the program managers that's here, that it ran long. And they're just, anyway, they've said, oh, you can just use the room, but it took them 10 minutes to clear out of the room. So again, I apologize. And the other thing I apologize for is I saw this weekend, it's like, oh, this meeting's coming up. It happens once a month and it's going to fall right at the end of this first day of meetings. I should put out an agenda and get everything all set. I've done none of that. I apologize, but we're here and let's dive into things. And Riza is probably here going, boy, these guys are pretty disorganized at this, that's my fault for this particular meeting, in part because Riza, we only get together at the plenary level once a month. And we mostly do it to get task force reports and just provide, general updates on the technology stack working group. But almost all the work happens in our task forces. So those meetings are much better prepared. And for instance, the Decentralized Trustcraft Working Group, which you joined last time, I will be preparing an agenda. We've got a very full agenda for this, meeting that will be at the end of the day tomorrow. And I will also be much more stringent about making sure that I'll probably get a separate room for that tomorrow night so that I can start right on time. So that's a long apology. And we have a relatively small group, so I think we can just catch up on Techno Stack Working Group and whichever task forces are ready to report. I can actually go spin up a meeting page for us to keep track of those reports. But let's start out because I'm not sure you've met, Riza, everyone on this. I know you've met some of us, but maybe not everyone. So let's do the introduction thing. Unless, Riza, do you know everyone here?
I only know Scott, and Scott's been a speaker at the Quai weekly public meetings. So everyone else is new to me.
Perfect. Well, in that case, let's do a little bit more in-depth introductions. I mean, everyone knows me, and Riza and I are good buddies now because we were together at VRM Day last week. So let's go ahead and do that. And meanwhile, I will go to another window and spin up the meeting page so we can go through that. So let's see. I'm going to pass the ball over to Carly. You start out.
Yes, hello, I'm Carly Heidema. I was intending to lurk here and not participate, I am here at Trust River IP. I've been here since the beginning. I'm working on the Ecosystem Governance Working Group meeting, and I'm producing the bite-sized trust videos. And I'm at the University of Guelph, and we're looking at building research data spaces, and I'm hoping to pass some of the technologies from here into that ecosystem.
I'll go. So I'm Stephen Milstein. I'm in Montreal, also with Trust for IP since day one. Steering committee member, and also co-chair with Carly and Scott on the ecosystems and governance. My background is a technical product manager, very much into AI and governance. That's it.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, Dan Bockenheimer here with Accenture. Yeah, I've been supporting in any way I can, but not nearly enough Trust over IP since its founding. Yeah, and focus on digital identity with a strong background in biometrics.
Great. My name's Riza Rasool. I'm chair of Kwai. Kwai is a non-profit AI lab. We're coming up to about 1,000 members. We're about to merge with another organization, so that'll give us a global footprint and increase our membership. We are building open source, decentralized AI, an AI infrastructure that allows you to run regular models, but dispersed across multiple nodes. Let's see, we've got a number of working groups, and we're participating. In fact, we fancy ourselves as the Linux of AI. Not that it's a rival operating system, but Linux was a movement that was started in opposition to the monopolization of the server operating system space. And it's a great case study in how we can resist the monopolization of an industry that would potentially be damaging for all of us. So AI that is safer, faster, and greener is what we're pursuing. And thanks so much, Scott, for being a participant and speaker a week ago. And then Drummond, we're looking forward to you participating. And I'd love to get to know all of you a lot better. That's it.
It's fantastic. I'm just completing the meeting page. And if I could draw out of you a little bit more, Riza, can you,
Sure.
because I'll explain why there's a lot of interest in this. Explain a little bit more about how you're pursuing that decentralized but still personal AI. I'm just, I think it's important
Indeed.
from the standpoint of this overall working group to understand that a little bit more. And I'll finish while I'm listening.
Yeah. So a great inspiration of ours was Doc Searls. About a decade ago, he wrote the book, The Intention Economy. And when I read that, I thought, wow, okay, this inverts the entire model of B2C. Instead, it's me to be. It puts you in the driver's seat, and that's the right thing. And so he's consolidated the concept of that book into a notion called My Terms. And the first low-hanging fruit to eradicate is the cookies. So I'm imagining, Carly, a short video where Doc Searls is in fact the cookie monster. And so he basically then was invited by IEEE to standardize this notion of eradicating the cookie. Imagine now, instead of those annoying cookie banners, one of the choices is craft your own terms. And now, whenever a website that supports my terms comes up, there'll be a machine-to-machine communication where you assert your terms, and the terms are simple. Here's what you can use my data for. Here's what how long you can use it for. Don't track me outside of your shop, as you expect in a bricks and mortar retail, and whatever other terms. So the terms are in customer commons. Okay, so we're going to take on that job since we're a strong development organization, research and development organization. We're going to take on that. But what we're building is a decentralized AI. And if you go to our website, which you'd find at www.quai.ai, you'll see a short video on how we tackle the decentralized digital public infrastructure. It is it's a reimagination of the highly centralized infrastructures that exist today, which require data centers which have awful carbon footprints. Imagine the BitTorrent of AI. Imagine the sort of SETI at home of AI, or the folding at home, where we can harness the collective of, this sounds like the Borg, doesn't it? Harnessing the collective. Harness the collective capacity of all of our computers. It means that everyone can participate in the AI economy, not just maybe the half a dozen oligarchs that currently control AI. And we know who they are. And their MO is to further concentrate control over the infrastructure and power. Drummond, have I tap danced enough there? I could go on for ages.
It was really good tap dancing, and yes, actually, I guess I can hit the publish on that page. Although I'm going to do that. Riza, are you on the Confluence at this point?
Let's see. I
I
think
can actually check and see if I type in. No, not yet, but that's okay, because I was going to say whatever. I just copied in the link to quai.ai. But I was going to say whatever else you would like to be in the minutes about that, you can just put in the chat, and I will copy it in there. In the meantime, I will put this in the chat, which is the meeting page for this meeting. Let's see, I got to get down here and stick it in the chat. And 1 second, there it is. Bingo. So that is the page where we for all of our meetings, we just whip up a new Confluence meeting page, and I will actually share it here so that we can be on record as having officially shared, besides the fact that this is the November 4th Technology Stack Working Group meeting. To be compliant with Linux Foundation policy, we always share our antitrust policy notice. And just so you know, Riza, we have a special, long story behind this, but we have a special additional policy, this one here that I'm highlighting, that if you contribute in this working group, we've inherited one of the provisions of the Open Web Foundation license, which is that unlike the W3C license, which gives you till the end of the process of finalizing a spec until you could have the option to withdraw something that you've contributed, under the Open Web Foundation license, you have 45 days from whenever you contributed. And after that, you can't back out. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, we did that because we had some working group members that we actually switched to the Open Web Foundation license. Then we had other working group members anyway, folks that said, "Oh no, we really want the W3C license much more lively," but we kept this provision and worked with the Linux Foundation. So enough said about that. We've never had any problems or issues around it, but we're just making sure everyone knows about that. So here is our meeting page, and again, I haven't done anything. As you can see, I haven't filled out any other agenda items. We just have our standing reports on these 6 task forces that we have. And Andre, by the way, Andre Kudra is here in the room with me, so he's a proxy member of our meeting here. You can wave at everybody, Andre. I'll prove that he's really here. Hello.
Hey, Andre.
There you go. Try trying to adjust my, that's weird.
Mhm.
I got this, how can I get the participants back? There we go. Sorry, I'm on my laptop, so I've got limited window space, and I want to get back to what I was showing. That's it. I want to get that one there. Bingo. Okay. And we may have more time to get more details out of Riza if we can get through this. So our standing agenda is to provide reports from our different working groups. Since we only have if we include Andre, 7 of us here today, we can be fairly fast about this. The Technology Architecture Task Force, I still have the longstanding action item. Carly, you can stay on me on this. Once I get back, it's a small amount of work to finalize that, and I want to be able the technology architecture specification. We've had ready except for one pending action item, so we want to finish that and be able to have it be on our list of current documents for the Trust Over IP Symposium. Riza, I don't know if you're aware, I think everyone else is. We're holding a symposium to celebrate our 5th year anniversary, even though it'll be 5.5 years at that point, on November 19th and 20th.
Okay.
It's virtual. The first day is all talks of either 30 or 60 minutes on all the current projects and demonstrations of things happening at either at Trust Over IP or based on Trust Over IP specs. For example, I'm going to give one on the first person project, and I'm also giving one on this last task force that we'll talk about down here, did skid. Anyway, Carly, you probably got access to links that you could put in the chat for Riza to be able to see what else is on the agenda for the first day. Again, is talks. The second day is we're having a couple workshops or panels that are longer sessions. We're gonna record each of the talks 30 or 60 minutes the first day, so we have this library of current status of everything at Trust Over IP. There's some really good meaty stuff in there. So anyway, and we're also going to be getting updates. We haven't done an update to our Introduction to Trust Over IP document since in about 4 years. And we've evolved both terminology and our diagrams a long ways, to the point where Carly and I took a look at it and said, we're not going to try and rewrite the original one. We're going to write a new one. It can be quite a bit shorter.
Yeah, when are we going to have the time to rewrite a new one, Drummond?
I'm going to be, I promised you that I would be working on that. Once this trip's going to be a little longer than I had planned, but I still have that on my agenda. And so I think we can get it done.
In time for the symposium?
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be much shorter, Carly, because
that we can do.
Yeah, much further down the road.
Okay.
All right. Trust Registry Task Force. Daryl is not here right now. I happen to know he's also in Europe right now, so that doesn't surprise me too much. I'm happy to report that we had a fantastic session at IAW on the Trust Registry Query Protocol. We have made a significant advancement. We've been preparing to release working draft, public review draft of version 2. We have had one public review draft out there, but we've made a significant revision in that we're moving from a model that just had 3 core components of a query to 4 components. And I won't go into the details other than to say that model matches it's called the PARC model, Principal Action Resource Context. That is used by, I think, one of the largest authorization systems in the world, the CEDAR authorization that Amazon runs. And it gives us a bunch of extra sort of semantic power, and it gives us alignment with the PARC model that systems like Caesar use. So it's very easy to write policies in trust registries to incorporate that. So Riza, the Trust Registry Task Force is all about the TRQP protocol for interoperable decentralized trust registries, quote, DNS for trust. And this is highly relevant to, of course, decentralized AI agents. You could say it's our entry in the in the race for how agent identity and discovery is going to be done. We didn't start out designing it for that. It was more designed to answer how are you going to get decentralized verification of verifiable credentials of any kind. But it's now as relevant to AI agents as anything else. So again, we don't have to go deeper about that. What I can say in terms of the update for the recording is that the PR that incorporates all that is almost done. Daryl, it's stuck with Daryl right now. Daryl and Andor are getting the final things in, so we'll have an update on that. The goal is to have the 2.0 public review draft out and ready for the symposium, because Daryl is giving a talk about it there. So that's that one. Trust spanning protocol. Wenjing is, I think he's actually back, but he was ill. He also has a standing conflict with this meeting, so he's not here right now. That is in great shape right now, and I think we're planning on publishing another draft. If it is also in public review for the 1.0. The second public review is already out there. I'm not sure if there's going to be a third one before the symposium, but there are two implementations of that, the Carry implementation and then the one at the Open Wallet Foundation, which Wenjing, it's his team that is maintaining that, and they're hitting on all cylinders. There's not much more to say. I think he's going to give a presentation on that on the first day, Carly, but the workshop on the second day, he's not able to get together, so we will not have a workshop on that. AI and human trust. Stephen, do you want to give a update on that?
Actually missed a few meetings. I don't really know where we're at, honestly. I'm sad to say. Carly, were you at the last one? No.
I
I know Eric Jury has started up a task force for AI agentic framework for, I guess, governance. And I do know a lot of it was recently just Wenjing showing how the trust spanning protocol worked with MCP and A2A. So that's what he's probably talking about, I guess, for the symposium. But I have seen an early, he did demo that at one point. It seems like a long time ago, but I guess it's not really. But it was pretty cool. So I think that's where we're at.
Okay, so sorry, I realize I'm talking long and not taking notes. So Eric has started. What's the name of the task force? Spearheading a task force on, what's the name of it?
Agentic AI. Steve, you're muted.
Sorry, I think it's a agentic AI framework.
That's right, agentic AI framework. It's okay.
And I think he's meeting on Tuesdays. They just started they just put it in the calendar recently.
Okay. Let me get that thing out of the way. Okay. Agentic AI. Is it just frameworks, or is it's not trust frameworks?
The task force I have in the calendar, it says agentic task force. And it's
just agentic.
Yeah, agentic. That's it. And it's in the calendar for November 4th at noon Eastern, every 2 weeks.
Okay, so now meetings, what day is that? Now meeting, is that Tuesdays?
Yes.
Tuesdays, every other week. Okay. And is all, I know the work group, that's right. Oh, I'm actually realizing I need to update the template, because this is no longer a task force. This is a separate working group now. I have not updated our template, so I will actually go up here.
Right. So it's out of scope for you, actually.
Yeah, it is. I don't, it's not that I want to get rid of it. Although I probably should. You know what? I'm just going to leave it as something that I will edit later. But this is now This used to be, just for Riza's knowledge, a task force here in the trust technology stack working group. But with the increasing, industry role, I don't need to tell you about AI agenthood or AI agents. It was elevated to be a separate working group at the same time that we started the decentralized trust graph working group. So it should not no longer be here. It's still good to know. And Riza, you may want to, that may be another working group that you and other Quai members are interested in. I will clarify also, DIF at the same time has started their working group that's called Trusted AI Agents. So you might be going, okay, TrustRB has AI and human trust. DIF has Trusted AI Agents. And our working group was first, but it was a task force, and then it became a working group. And then like 2 months later, DIF announced its working group. Those two groups are talking. They're not, and they have different focus. I would say the working group we have is really tackling AI agent issues in the context of the Trust RP stack. And so as Stephen said, for instance, one thing is how can AI agents use a trust spanning protocol? How can other agent-to-agent protocols like MCP and A2A use the trust spanning protocol? That's a focus there. At DIF, they're looking very broadly at trust issues and identity issues with AI agents. There is definitely overlap, and the two groups will be working together, but they did not decide to form just one joint working group. That's all I can tell you about it.
So there's also the Loyal Agents group that was formed by Consumer Reports, GlearNet, Quai, and Project Liberty, and it was formed in the UN General Assembly week in New York, and it's now grown to about 14 organizations. We got to find a way of sort of herding all the cats so that we can combine all of our energies into a single mission. I don't know if you, Drummond, if you managed to bump into any of the folks from Consumer Reports. They're putting a lot of energy behind it.
So the answer is absolutely. It was ironic that they were there for VRM Day, but they didn't say very much that day. But they did have they gave I think it was 2 sessions during IAW. I know you weren't there for the rest of IAW, but they did give 2 sessions. One the first day and I think one the third day. And we had a lot of really good discussion with them, Riza.
Okay.
So yeah, in fact, I basically said, hey, this is something, as you and I have talked, first person is totally aligned with.
Yeah.
And that I think a lot of our work here and in this working group is totally aligned with. So, however, I tell you what, we'll finish these reports, and then
Sure.
that's one thing we could maybe talk about a little bit more, because I think there's a lot to be done there.
Great. Okay.
Okay. High assurance VIDs task force. Scott, I think you're the last one to actually attend a meeting because we've really had
I think I don't know, I think it was like 3 years ago, so to be honest with you, it's kind of on stasis at this time,
Yep.
I don't know
Well,
what
actually,
else to say about that. It's until there is impetus for us to meet and finish this. It just seems like this was low priority for all of us. And when it's low priority in a volunteer setting, it doesn't get done. So either we do something about it or we don't.
and the update I have there from having a conversation, a chat conversation with Alex Tweedale, who is the remaining editor that really wants to get that spec out, is
Okay.
that he still does want to get it out and he wants to have a public review draft by the symposium, but the ball's in his court to do that.
Yeah.
Because he got the last meeting we did have, Scott, the one that had Daniel Hartman and Vasily Vasilov. I can't remember. Suryov. Suvorov. was fantastic. It was really good feedback and was like, okay, we got to make some significant revisions, but we haven't had a successful meeting since then. I think that was in August. So ball is with Alex, and that's all there is to say on that one. And the last one did skid. For Riza skid, are you familiar with did skid? Have you ever heard of that before, Riza?
No, I've heard of it. I need to know what
Sure.
the acronyms stand for.
So the skid stands for self-certified identifier,
Okay.
and it's a branch of as I think you know, when we first started on DIDs and came up with the idea of, okay, there are various ways to bind essentially a key pair or the cryptographic material in a DID document to a DID as an identifier, a persistent identifier for whatever that key pair, whatever verifiable identity you're trying to identify with that identifier. But because it's derived cryptographically and verifiable cryptographically, it doesn't need a centralized registry, which is where the name decentralized identifier came from, right? By the way, you see the term VID. At Trust over IP, we generalized one step further and said, okay, there are various ways to do a cryptographically verifiable identifier. We don't want to say that DIDs are the only way to ever do that. So a DID, almost every type of DID is a verifiable identifier. The DID spec is just loose enough that technically there are some kinds of DIDs that may not actually be verifiable in the way that we define them. VID is defined in our trust spanning protocol spec, but generally wherever you see VID, you can think of a DID. Now, the point is of all, when we started out with DIDs, we thought maybe there'll be, I don't know, half a dozen methods or ways of doing that binding. And right now, I think we just passed 200 of them that are registered with W3C in the registry. And so that actually sort of became a problem. And what happened was that probably, I don't know, at least 80% of those are just different blockchains all saying, we need our DID method, we need our DID method, right? It turned out our experience with DIDs, and we learned this, and I credit the Carey folks, came up with the idea of, one of the most secure ways you could do it, and also one of the most decentralized and portable ways you can create a DID is to cryptographically bind the key pair directly to the identifier without involving a blockchain or any other thing. It's basically you derive the value of the DID from the simplest way is a hash of the DID document, the initial DID document, the Genesis document. And almost all of the self-certifying, all the SCID methods, all the DID methods that use a self-certifying identifier use some variant on that process. You come up with the initial DID document with the key pairs and endpoints and whatever, you canonicalize it, and you hash it, and that forms your DID, okay? Now, once you do that, because you've done it all and you can do the whole thing, essentially locally in a wallet, you now have the initial DID document, and then if you want to rotate keys or change endpoints or do anything to produce a subsequent version of the DID document, all of them follow the same thing, which is you basically start to chain them together, and the next DID document contains a hash of the first one and is signed by a key in the first one, and now you've got your second state. And the combination of those DID documents is now widely being called your verifiable history. Does that make sense?
Okay.
We also, back in the early days, called that a micro ledger, because you're basically creating a hash chain of these versions of the DID document. And again, the best known DID methods that do that are Carey was the original one. Now DID WebVH that BC Gov has been the primary folks driving forward. It does it that way. The PLC method from Blue Sky is also a self-certifying identifier. And DID-Peer is actually one of the early ones. So there are a couple of them. And what DID-SCID is to say, hey, let's design one method that you can use different formats of self-certifying identifiers, but they'll all work basically the same way, and they'll all be location independent. And what that means is that you can use the identifier and you can use it peer-to-peer because the two peers are what share the verification history, right? Or you can put it on a web server, so it works with the web and all the web-based methods, or you can put it on blockchain, or you can put it on any number of places that you want, and they can all, you know, be sources of that verifiable history. That is what DIDSKID is about.
Okay.
And the last point I'll make there is because it can be used peer-to-peer and because it's that flexible, that is that family of methods is what we're focused on the first person project.
I think that's going to have lots of relevance in the distributed peer-to-peer fabric, and I think it seems to be some overlap with the work of of guys like um, there's there's a there's a group that's a member of Quai, and they're called Cryptid, and Cam
Yes,
Gear and
I know the folks.
yeah, you know them, and so uh, I mean they're a for-profit entity, but I'm wondering, you know, they're very long-lived identifiers, the Vlad, and the way that they provide a provenance tracking history of how your data, your identity got verified, especially if there's an agentic chain of a chain of custody of data. Um, there's the notion of of not having a centralized repository of identity is something that's dear to us. We don't want to have a centralized repository of identity or of trust in the same way that we currently have the credit bureaus, which are the centralized repositories of your credit worthiness. Is there, so we've been searching for what is the alternative to that, sort of having a decentralized trust fabric that is propagated via some gossip protocol where there's not just one unified um, uh, ground truth of the trustworthiness of Drummond or Carly or Steve, and those are the only people that appear on my, and Scott, and so we this, I think this is great. I'd like to learn more about it and see if it is something that we can roll out within what we're calling Quinet, which is, I guess, a holding name for our distributed fabric.
What did you call it again, Riza?
It's called Quinet, Kwainet. It's up and running already, but in a sort of a developer um, forum, we haven't released it publicly yet.
Pretty close to Skynet, huh? Terminator 2.
I know it's horrible, isn't it? It was whoever came up with the name needs to be smacked.
So is it literally Quai.net or just Quinet?
It's just Quinet currently. I capitalized the N
The
just
end, okay.
yeah. And when maybe this is something we can talk about if there's an opportunity on the 19th and 20th, or we could talk about our implementation of my terms, which is something we committed to running. You remember the Project VRM day? We came back from that breakout group and we said, okay, here's the first implementation of my terms. Here's how we're going to do it. And gosh, the 19th that's only 2 weeks away, so we have to get cracking. I don't know. We might have at least an architectural diagram of how we're going to do it. I don't know if we'll have our first implementation.
Oh, well, that's still, that would be pretty cool. if, now you're referring to the 19th, if you want to have a choir related talk, on the 19th, we've got a schedule. I know, Carly, is there still, the ability to add another talk?
I think so. Let's have it. We have a chat with Thomas
Okay.
Okay,
about that. I mean, there should be some kind of oversight. How did the approval of everything, I guess, went through ecosystem.
yes,
Uh,
Ecosystem
uh,
Foundry Working Group.
yeah, and we didn't reject anyone.
So it's a low bar.
Well,
No,
I
no,
mean,
it's not, go ahead.
we didn't have, I mean, the people who were contributing was, it wasn't like it was a random pile of people who were contributing. So
Okay.
yeah, we knew we knew everybody who was applying and stuff like that. So there wasn't any kind of weirdo thing that we had to actually make a decision about. So Drummond, let's have a talk with
Riza
yeah,
or
and
You were saying
Tomas.
Thomas. Who's
Thomas, well, and maybe to get we can propose it in the ecosystem or something like that, quick.
On Thursday?
Oh, shoot. We don't
Is
have a
there, you don't
Thursday,
have a meeting on Thursday, right?
but what about putting it into the chat?
Sure. Well, I was going to say, go ahead. What is your thought?
Me?
Yeah,
I mean, I think it sounds like a great idea. I'd like to continue a bit of governance on the, you know, on the selection of the names, just to clear it with everyone.
yeah,
And
no,
then
exactly. So,
we talk with Tomas, and I'm sure it can get added to the schedule. I'm just having a look.
so I was going to say, what about if Riza, and you connect? Riza, are you on the Discord channels yet?
I should be. I think I did connect once. Let me if you send me a link to it again, I will
Oh,
Yeah.
or let me. This I'm looking for the link to the data collection that we were doing for because then we can get the then,
Oh,
then we collect. But the other thing is that we've confirmed times already with everyone, so there's
right.
not we can't shuffle around the schedule.
that's
Yes.
fine. And I'm open either day, 19th or 20th, and I'll clear my calendar in order to accommodate your schedule. I think this is important enough to
So
bump
I'm
on.
wondering, Carly, that gives me the idea of possibly doing a session on the second day,
A
particularly
workshop,
a
yeah.
workshop. Riza, would you be interested in doing a workshop where,
That would be lovely, yeah.
yeah,
Because
you could have,
we have slot time for that, for sure.
yes, exactly,
Okay,
because we're still arranging that second day. So a workshop, A, you get some more time, and B, you could have, I mean, you can always have multiple speakers as part of a slot, but that way
great.
you can go more in depth. And a workshop on Quai and decentralized AI, I think that would get a pretty good audience.
Fantastic. Okay, yeah. I think we've
The
got
other,
time then to pull together um compelling list of I think small sound bites rather than death by PowerPoint.
Sure.
Maybe we can get so we got three
that's my
broad
heart.
we, we've got three broad work streams. One is a development work stream, which is developing all the things I've been talking about. There's a research stream, which is doing hardcore research into fundamental AI. And then there's a policy stream, which is drafting policy to make AI more aligned with human values. So we can have those or work group leaders from those groups to come and give a small 5 minute soundbite, and I think that would be useful. But the decentralized AI would probably take the bulk of what we're doing.
Perfect.
Also, I mean, just throwing this out there, instead of the symposium and stuff like that, because I'm not sure. We'll talk
Ah.
about how aligned it is with what Trust over IP's outputs are as part of the symposium, but it sounds really cool, and I would like to have it presented in ecosystem and governance
Yes.
working group meeting. And
Yeah,
that would be
that's
in January, and that's usually a 45-minute discussion, which is reasonably well attended, and the video recording afterwards gets lots of views.
Yeah. I mean, this is part of a broader topic. I'd like to get more of our work groups actually run under your umbrella rather than us doing it. Frankly, we're crap at it. And what I'm seeing here is much better infrastructure for running work groups, and I'd love it if we just ran all of these work groups under your umbrella, providing they're obviously aligned with the broader agenda
sure.
of what you're doing. But yeah, I can see a lot of value in that.
So a suggestion, Carly, if you could get Riza an invite, if you go to Discord and just grab an invite, even if it's just a short-term one to our channel there, or to a DM, what we could do is you and I could work with Riza to figure out, all right, what is the best way to proceed with that? Is it at the
Yeah.
symposium, or is it, but even this larger topic of, okay, having investigated.
Because, yeah, I mean, if it went into ecosystem and governance, then that could turn into a bigger discussion about bringing it in and fit and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that would be, which would be not so accessible in the symposium, but the fantastic
would-
for the
yeah,
government
exactly.
for ecosystem. Yeah.
So I'm thinking we start a DM with Riza on Discord so we can discuss that, because we are, guess what, at time. This
Yeah.
hour has flown by. But this is exactly what this plenary meeting is about, is getting up all of us, talking about what are the current things going on in the working group, and the different task forces. So Riza, just to make it clear, the structure we have at Trust RP, which is the same for JDF projects in general, Joint Development Foundation projects at the Linux Foundation, is the official structure is the overall project and then working groups inside the project, each of which has a defined charter which defines the scope and the associated intellectual property you choose from standard. At Trust RP, almost all our working groups are Creative Commons copyright, W3C patent, and Apache 2 for open source. One of our working groups uses the Open Web Foundation, the Carry Suite working group. But otherwise, and that's how they're set up. And then what we've added is this layer of task forces inside working groups. So you can establish a working group, its overall scope, and then have as many task forces as you want inside of that to divide up the work. So what we've been covering is task forces inside the technology stack working group. Sounds like what you might have in mind for Quai is another working group. It could be task forces within this, but it sounds like that's what you're.
I think it's another working group. Yeah.
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 And as long as it's aligned with Trust RIP's overall mission, that's a very interesting topic. And I think Carly's exactly right. We could look at starting with a presentation discussion in the ecosystem and governance working group, which is where those things usually start. And Carly, if you get Riza that invite to Discord, we can follow up there.
Discord's in the chat. I've waved to you on Discord. I will send you a link to ecosystem and governance, our information collection, but we don't have a date yet set for that. And to the task, the technical stack working group meeting, I just wanted to add a point that I wanted to add the point that the said URN application has been started, and there's ongoing discussion on the mailing list, which is posted in the chat up above. And I'll repost it in the chat.
Yeah, repost that and I will oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just linking to the archive of the chat.
Yes.
I see it. Yeah.
And just so we don't drown you in acronyms, Riza, SED is a self-addressing identifier, which
Okay.
is actually a type of self-certifying identifier, but it is a self-certifying identifier for content addressing. That's also, the spec includes how to bind into the content. So you not only get the content, but you get the self-addressing identifier in the content. Yep, I think a number of us have to jump now, so I'm just copying this into the notes.
Thanks.
And with that, I think we are at time, and I thank everyone. And I apologize again for my lateness and we normally have better organized meetings, and I promise that tomorrow's decentralized Trustcraft Working Group meeting will be better organized.
I'll see you then.
We have a lot on the agenda for that, and we will report on many of the things we're covering here in Berlin in this meeting. So thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. And I will stop sharing and bid you adieu.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.